The housing market can be really confusing if you're not working in it every single day like I am. That's what you've got me for. I'm going to talk about everything that's going on in the market, both nationally and locally here in Hampton Roads. What's going on? My name is Jason Edwards. I'm a local realtor here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. If you're looking for a channel that goes over what it's like to live, eat, sleep, play anywhere in the Hampton Roads area, then like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell. I'll be uploading a new video every single week about what it's like to live here in Hampton Roads. I'm getting calls and texts every single day, and I love it. So if you've got questions or concerns before making your move down here, my contact information is below. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, whatever you got to do, because I'd be happy to help you with your move down here to Hampton Roads. I want to start in and maybe give a little bit of context and go back to a topic that we talked about last month, and that's on mortgage rates. Give you a little bit of context, maybe a reminder of something we talked about, but also another way to look at it. I want to go right here and first start with the reality of last year, of 2022, and that's the 30-year fixed rate in this country doubled over the last year. We started out at 3.2% back in January a year ago, ended up right at 6.4% as we wrapped up the year. Never seen a year in the mortgage rate doubling, never seen as rapid a rise in mortgage rates in this country. All of that certainly has impacted the market. It's impacted folks psychologically, even maybe in the business and what's going on. And so we talked about that last month and really broke down the relationship between the 30-year fixed mortgage rate and the 10-year treasury yield. If you remember, we talked about it's all about the spread. Everything's about the spread. We went through examples of why our rate's not at 5.5%. I'll bring that slide back up. If we go back to the year of 2000 through 2021, really the past 21 years, and we see the average 10-year treasury was 3.49%. The spread there, 1.79%, giving us an average mortgage rate of 5.28%. So you take the treasury, you add 1.79%, and you get the average mortgage rate. And that average over the last 20 years has been 1.79%. Then we talked about how over the last couple of years that's fluctuated, but certainly in the last year we've seen that spread rise where today, 10-year treasury, 3.69%. The spread, 2.79%, giving mortgage rates a rate right now, as of this most recent posting from Freddie Mac, 6.48%. Let's call it 6.5%. So that spread has widened over the last year. If we take this, and the answer to that is, as that spread decreases, we see lower mortgage rates. And if the spread were normal today, we'd see an interest rate of just under 5.5%. Now we talked about all of this last month. I'm going over it again so you have an understanding of it. I'm going to give you a slightly different look at it because I think this is really, really important as we are educated in the market. Here would be my message right now. The spread between the 10-year treasury and the 30-year fixed mortgage is a measure of volatility and panic. That panic is starting to subside. That's good news for long-term interest rates. We've seen a little bit of relief over the last 6 or 7 weeks and a couple of ticks up in the last few weeks, but certainly up and down volatile right now. But if you look at the spread last year, we started in January of last year and the spread's been rising as panic entered the market. The first part of the year, we see folks getting more uncertain about the economy, things happening, and panic entering into the equation in our world economically. And then around June of last year, if you remember, the Fed came out and said, we don't have this under control. We want to reset the housing market. And we saw the panic go up again. Then we come to the end of this past year and we start to see the panic subsiding and folks and experts, economists, the Fed saying maybe the peak of inflation is behind us. Now, I'm not here to say it's all about inflation and we need to not do anything about that. I think that there are very real things that we can do, but the bottom line is there's still about a 1% difference between where that spread sits today and where it's sat historically. So as we do a better job helping to take panic out of the market, we should see that spread lower. This is from Lawrence Yoon. The upcoming months should see a return of buyers as mortgage rates appear to have already peaked and have been coming down since mid-November. We've talked about that. I want to remind you of that. One of the premier thinkers in the mortgage business, Dave Stevens, former Assistant Secretary of Housing, held positions at the NBA. He said this, and I think it's very important that we take note of it. He said, "So be advised, this may be the one and only window for the next few years to get into a buyer's market. And remember, as Federal Reserve data shows, home prices only go up and always recover from recessions, no matter how mild or severe. Long-term homeowners should view this market right now as a unique buying opportunity." There is absolutely opportunity in the market. Now, in the next few minutes, I'm going to get what I believe is the biggest opportunity. But for the long-term homeowner, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity we haven't seen over the last couple of years. Now, I think there are things that stand in people's way and concerns and all that, and I want to address those. But I think if we miss this opportunity, we miss what the market can bring to us. One of those concerns, and we talked extensively last month about it, was home prices. I want to give you a little update on that, the forecasts that are out, and a little perspective, and some things that we're seeing in the market. First, the one thing that is true right now about the forecast for home prices is that none of the experts agree. That is absolutely true. This is a look at the forecasters that we follow. They go anywhere from depreciation of 5% to appreciation of 5%. The important thing to remember right here is that we don't see any of these reputable forecasters calling for a free fall in prices in the housing market. I think you're starting to see a turn in that as well. One of the interesting things that has been published recently was an article in the Wall Street Journal where they looked at home price appreciation before the pandemic and after the pandemic. If you look at before the pandemic, from the fall of 2017 up until the spring of 2020, about 12% home price appreciation. That's nationally, over that 2.5-year time span. If you think about the 2.5 years going into this fall since the beginning of the pandemic, what did we see? A tremendous amount of appreciation across the country in residential real estate, 38%. So would it make sense that in some markets and in some cases we would see a little bit of that come back? Absolutely it would. But again, not a free fall in prices like maybe some have said, people in the media, people maybe here on YouTube, other places like that. Another fact that people think about in prices is every home out there is reducing their price right now. Simply not true. If you look at this, the share of homes having their price reduced going all the way back to 2021, let's look at this graphic right here. At the height of the most recent information we have from Realtor.com in November was just over 1% of homes having a price reduction in the market. So again, not a free fall, not a situation where we're seeing every home or a great majority of homes having their prices reduced. Just a slim piece there. One of the questions that I would certainly put on the table right now is this: have home values hit their bottom? This is a look right now at Case-Shiller, FHFA, Black Knight, and CoreLogic and their month-over-month home value change. If you isolate the last 4 months that have been published, what we see in each case, the depreciation peaked in August. Now, I'm not here to say that we're out of the woods, but what I am here to say is home price depreciation is not in a free fall. As we go through November, December, we'll get this information. It runs in arrears. It's the best possible information for home prices. But what I'm saying is you're not seeing it drop and continue to drop. You may see a little bit here and there coming forward, but not this precipitous decline in home prices. We're going to continue to follow that. I want you to stay tuned to the monthly market report every month so we can stay on top of this. But these are the questions that folks that are thinking about buying are asking right now. Maybe folks that are move-up buyers, that are sellers that are asking right now. I think about this. Some of the things that have been said recently about the housing market is frozen. And maybe you even talked to somebody about that. Here's the bottom line. You take the December existing sales report, the most recent one, over 11,000 homes sell every day in this country. The proof of that is the math on the screen. Just over 4 million homes in the existing home sales report divided by 365 is just over 11,000 homes every day. So that's not frozen by any stretch of the imagination. If you use the analogy of maybe like a shower, if the last couple of years were a shower, the water was warm, it was a great shower. It was at that point where it's not too hot, just warm enough where you could take an hour-long shower. There's no doubt that that's not coming out of the spigot right now. Maybe it's a little colder water, but it's not frozen. It's not by any stretch of the imagination. That also means that 8 houses sell every minute in this country. Again, I put the math here on the slide. You take that 11,000 number, divide it by 24 hours, 467 every hour. Divide that by 60, 7.8 homes sell every minute. So if somebody sits you down and talks to you for 10 minutes about how nothing's selling and how this market is this way, you can tell them, while we spoke, 80 homes just sold. Remember, as we see panic subside, we see more advantageous mortgage rates here. We can also suggest alternative means of financing. I think that's critically important right now. Adjustable rate mortgages and rate buydowns, a 2-to-1 buydown, or a seller concession that's applied to a buydown is very, very advantageous for those looking to buy right now. And just a couple of quotes on that as we think about it. First, from the Urban Land Institute, they say, the risk of ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, were substantially mitigated by the regulatory reforms put in place after the 2008 bust. Today's adjustable rate mortgage is not the risky product of 2008 or even the pre-bubble version. ARMs are no longer something to fear. In fact, they could help borrow or save money and reduce barriers to home ownership. I'm not a mortgage expert, but if you have questions or would like to talk through how you can best buy a new home right now, I have a very knowledgeable mortgage expert that I can connect you with. If you think about rate buydowns, this comes from Real Estate News. Temporary rate buydowns are a hot trend for mortgages as borrowers face higher costs for home loans. Some buyers are exploring alternatives to traditional mortgages in a period of rising interest rates that is expected to continue into 2023. Buydowns are a less costly alternative to a traditional fixed rate mortgage. So whether it's a buydown, whether it's an adjustable rate mortgage, thinking about, okay, how do we help this buyer in that market opportunity that we talked about before they buy? I think that's critically important. I'm gonna wrap up here in just a minute with what I believe is the biggest opportunity right now. It's a new year, there's new opportunity, and I think looking at this, there's an insight into probably one of the most opportunistic situations in real estate as we speak. I wanna break it down this way. If you start to look at information and the data that's out there, one thing becomes true. Active listings over the past 2 years have grown. We wrapped up 2021 with just about 450,000 active listings in this country. Here in Hampton Roads, we had 3,852. We're wrapping up 2022, the latest information for that, at just about 750,000 listings nationally, with 4,306 locally. So that's the first point. We have more listings today. But what do we also know? Pending listings have decreased every month since the beginning of last year. They were stable month over month from February to March, but each month they've trickled down, meaning pending listings is an indicator of velocity and demand in the market. So if there are less pending listings, that means less sales. So you have inventory increasing pending or demand decreasing. If you got any value from this, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell. Because like I said, I'll be uploading new videos every single week about what it's like to live here in Hampton Roads.